Yeah, the movement just started. JH forever, forever. From the jump, the fam showed up, showed out. New friends, real ones.
Hey everybody, welcome to The Cut. We're here with Jake Hale and Jonathan Smith with JH Performance, and we're going to do a little test run with you guys. Jonathan's going to ask me a little bit about my background, and we will get into maybe some deeper conversation, but we want to just take the time and welcome you guys to The Cut, first edition.
Hey, first edition. Awesome. Not going to lie, this feels very intimate.
This is good.
This is good. Yeah. Go ahead and cut that out, producer. AKA me. So today we want to talk a little bit about your background, kind of where you came from, how you kind of got to where you are and where you're looking to go to. Tell us a little bit about your baseball background and, kind of give the viewers a little bit about who you are, because everyone thinks you're awesome. We're around you all the time, but, let our greater audience know.
Yeah, so
who's Jake Hill?
I am originally from Southeast Ohio, go Albany, Ohio, originally from MacArthur, so those Denton Countyans are going to claim me hard, but I was there, small town, Ohio. I think we had a red light in my first town, and we didn't have a red light in my second town. That's awesome. Went on to play at the Ohio State University for the Buckeyes, and had a pretty decent career there. Was an All-American there. I was drafted once out of high school, and then drafted twice out of college. Ended up signing with the Diamondbacks after my senior year. Played with the Diamondbacks for 2 years, and then got the old cut.
Hey, I was cut once too from my ninth grade basketball team.
Went on to play some independent ball. Got the pleasure of playing winter ball. I played 3 years in Venezuela. I played a year in Colombia and another year in Nicaragua, which is pretty cool. The experience was awesome. Played 10 years total professionally, and then retired due to a back injury. Compressed my L5-S1, and I tried to play the 2018 season. I played through it, but getting out of bed and crawling to a dresser to stand up every morning and go to the field was not ideal anymore. So that's when I had to make the decision, the quality of life over continuing to play, and I stepped away, and then I had moved out to California at the end of 2015 and have been out here ever since. I came back out after I retired and started doing lessons and giving lessons and traveling all over the county and just trying to get my name known in San Diego. That led to me creating a travel baseball team called the Jackhammers. I've been doing that for 5 years now, getting ready to go in our 6th year after the new year. And kind of felt like I maxed out my time in terms of trying to make money and keep grinding out here in the expensive San Diego life.
Yeah, SoCal's expensive.
Yeah, it's tough. But I was about to quit the baseball scene and go into doing real estate with my now wife. And I got to about one test away, and she's like, "You don't really want to do this, do you?" And I was like, "Not really." So she kind of pushed me to stay in the baseball scene, and so I stepped away from the real estate stuff and doing all the tests, and took on the teams. And then I talked to one of our friends and / mentor, and he said, "You really need to get some sales into something that's in your niche." And so I went on to mess around and make some batting gloves, and I did that, and that was really cool. And I thought, if I could get into batting gloves, I could really figure out who has the stuff to make the gloves. And so I went on a deep dive for like 6-8 months, really just researching who manufacturers are, where people were getting things, and I reached out to a few of those guys, and obviously I went through the trials and tribulations of getting samples and figuring out who was who and who was not. Yeah. And then I found out the really good ones, and I got some really good samples, and then I just started really experimenting, something that people weren't really doing in the baseball world. and it's kind of come into the fruition of what we're doing today.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Yeah, I kind of came on your journey kind of towards the tail end of that when you first started the JH performance and seeing the gloves and things like that. But before we get into all that stuff, like, can you talk about, was baseball like your only sport in high school, or did you play other sports? Because for the viewers that don't know, Jake's 6'7". 6'7".
6'7".
So yeah, tell us a little bit about your background and whether you played, basketball or soccer or whatever. What did you play in high school?
Yeah,
Besides baseball?
I did. I was basketball, baseball. I played golf for 2 years.
Yeah.
Because my baseball coach was the golf coach, and I was like, hell yeah, we get to go play golf after school. Okay. And so I mainly baseball, basketball. I got recruited in high school to play Division I basketball, and my coach kind of told everybody just to relax, that I was going to go play baseball. Because I almost didn't play basketball my senior year because I really wanted to focus on baseball. But, it's snowing in Ohio. What else was I going to do? There was no facilities or anything like that. So it's not like I could go really just dive into training all off season. So I ended up obviously playing baseball in college, but I was a pretty good basketball player too. I got recruited by Dayton and a couple other schools. To
Oh, that's
basketball.
cool. Yeah, were you so on the baseball side of things, were you a PO for the most part?
No, actually, I played first base, obviously being big, but I played outfield too. I hit 10 bombs my senior year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I could swing it.
Easy, buddy. Save some for the rest of us. So last year at the APCA, 2025, beginning of the year, I ran into one of your high school teammates. And he was talking about, he was an underclassman. I think you were a junior or senior. And one of his fondest memories is him being in center field, being a young guy and getting a start and seeing you pitch at high school and having 9 or 10, 12, 13 scouts back there, or whatever it was. Anytime you pitch, all the radars guns coming up. So can you talk about what that felt like, or what that process was looking like for you? And did you notice that the scouts were there? Like, how'd you block all that stuff out?
Yeah, I mean, my parents gave me some really cool opportunities as I was younger to be able to go to showcases and things like that. So initially when they started showing up to my high school, I got a little nervous, obviously. You go to throw, and then all of a sudden these white dots start pointing up at you from the backstop.
Oh, jeez.
But I kind of, started to get numb to it, just being like, okay, it was less about the guns and more about those guys getting the oohs and ahs about what I was doing. So it kind of fueled me to go a little bit harder in the paint. So when I saw people show up, I was like, okay, it got me giddy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know some people, it kind of gets them a little nervous and things like that. And again, when it first happened, I was like, oh my God, don't mess up, but after I kind of really got into it, it fired me up, I wanted to go out there, and I was always a player that was out there to prove a point, so, with my other guys behind me, I know they were shitting bricks.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't even know what to do right now, and it was kind of cool because it started out as some colleges showing up, and then all of a sudden, you're seeing the Braves out there, you're seeing the Yankees out there, and the Rockies, and you're like, this is real. They're driving to Podunk, Ohio, because the closest airport was an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
In Columbus. So it was this is they actually have some serious interest in me. They're not just happen to be in the area. You know what I mean? So that was a very cool experience.
That's cool, man. So when you go through your high school career, you get towards the end of it, you're going to get drafted, or you think you're going to get drafted, or have to make a decision to go to school. What was your thought process? What were you kind of feeling? Who was talking to you, and kind of just take us down that memory lane.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a draft watch party or anything. I was just kind of hanging out because I know when it was going to happen. I had a couple of teams on me, and the Blue Jays were on me hard. The Indians came to my house and talked to us, and I get a call day one that Tampa Bay was going to take me, and they're like, hey, will you take X amount of dollars if we draft you next? And I was like, I don't know. Hold on. I'm going to call my mom. It's like,
That's hilarious.
I didn't know, It's like, they offered me good money, and I was like, shit, like, that's a lot of money. I've never, I'm 18 years old. Do I?
Let me call mom.
Yeah. I was like, do I
That's
do that?
awesome.
And she's like, she didn't help me at all. She was like, hey, this is your life.
Yeah.
Make the decision.
That's a good mom right there.
And I was like, oh, shit. So I called them back, and I was like, all right, yeah, I'll do it. And then the round went by, and they're like, dude, you literally just called like 1 minute too late.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they were going to offer me like $250,000.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, dude. And I was like, shit. So I kind of missed that boat, but I ended up getting, drafted later and by the Indians. And, we just couldn't come to an agreement initially. So they were going to treat me as a draft and follow, and I went to play for Team Ohio. It was my second year playing for them, and we were going to go to, the Sun Belt Classic in Oklahoma, and I went to pitch game 1 against Team Florida, and 10 pitches in, I pulled my UCL.
Oh.
So I almost had surgery, for no reason. The doctor misread the MRIs down there, and I went to see Dr. Krimchek, and he's like, oh, no, your UCL is fine. It's actually thicker than what it should be, So I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing,
Yeah.
But luckily I didn't have to have Tommy John or anything. But when it comes September, I couldn't pass the physical. So I just went on to Ohio State to play. And,
Yeah.
I can't say it was a bad decision. I had a great time, and I got another chance.
Yeah.
Another 2
How many
chances.
years did you play at Ohio State?
Ended up playing all 4.
Yeah.
I got drafted again my sophomore year because I turned 21 early.
Yeah.
I went to the Blue Jays, but they had 9 picks in the first 3 rounds, just due to their year, and they gave all their money away. They signed everybody, and so they really didn't have what I was asking for to give me.
Yeah.
And then I stayed for a junior year. I had a good year, but I just didn't get picked up. And then my senior year, I got drafted again, and ended up signing with the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So one of the things that I found out about you when we first started hanging out is that you actually hold the all-time saves, I believe, at Ohio State. Mm-hmm. What was that year like, and how many saves did you have that year? Yeah,
that year was pretty cool. I had 18 saves in one season. Should have had more, but old BT, you know who you are. I could have had more, but didn't get the opportunities. I got runner-up for stopper of the year is what they called it, behind the guy that was at San Diego State, actually. But I ended up, I don't know if I still got the record or not, but I think I have a single season. I don't know if I have the all-time. But I did that in 2 seasons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they hopped back and forth between starter and closer for me. So I think if I would have had it all 4 years, then I would have blown it out of the water.
Yeah.
But I was a starter for the other 2.5 years, I would say.
Dude, that's sick. So you go to Ohio State, you 4 years, you had a pretty good camp, and then you get drafted. What was that signing process like, going through that? The second time.
Yeah. Well, it was actually the third time.
Third time.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Sorry, I'm not that cool. I made my high school football team.
The third time, it was neat. It was, getting through the process of signing the paperwork. Hey, we're giving you X amount of dollars, and it was really just like some expectations and legal jargon. After that, here's your report date. And that was kind of like, the only way I can kind of put your report day is like first day of school.
Yeah, but you're like 21.
Hey, yeah. But you're also going like school shopping and stuff.
Yeah.
Because you have to wear like proper attire to the games and on the bus rides and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And you're like, I'm a sweatpants guy.
Yep.
And so I had to go do a little bit of school shopping before I left. And then you got there and, they put you up in a hotel near the facility and, you don't have your vehicle, so they shuttle you back and forth, and you show up at like 5:36 in the morning because you're in Arizona and try to beat the heat.
Yeah.
So we'd start at like 7:05 with all our meetings, and then you go out there and go through full stretch program and throwing program, and then you kind of got into your drill work for the day, and if you have bullpens and whatnot. But and then you got your lunch break in the afternoon was games.
Yeah.
And that's when you did like your live ABs, and you played in scrimmage games against each other, and thereafter you started playing against other teams. But really just kind of dial in what the professional baseball life's like. We did that for a month, and then they shipped you off to your team.
Yeah.
So once you shipped you off to your team, it's like, here we go.
Yeah.
Like, you're playing like real games and real stadiums and real fans, the whole nine. And it was quite different because in college, you play on the weekends. You might have a midweek game or something, but you really learn like the grind of it because you started playing every day.
Yeah.
Not only do you play every day, but you also get all your early work in every day.
Yeah.
So you got your practice in, and then you start playing. So it was way different than college, and the fact that you're trying to pack all that stuff in one day.
Yeah.
Every single day, and you get like 1, 2, maybe 3 days off in a month.
Yeah.
So that life of the daily grind of a baseball player is like, I feel is like one of the hardest things to do as a professional athlete.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
No recovery days.
So this past spring, we went to Arizona for spring training, and we went to visit a few different ball clubs. So some of the players that are wearing the JH gloves, and one of the coolest things I think I've ever experienced in my entire life, from a just from a friendship level, is like seeing you walk back into the Diamondbacks facility. And you hadn't been there since the day that you were cut.
Yeah.
And then running into Doug Drabeck.
Yeah, my boy.
Gray Bush,
Oh,
as you
Gray
called
Bush.
him. So
Gray
I
Bush.
saw this, this gray-haired man coming down, and I'm used to seeing Doug as a mullet man.
Yeah.
Coming from the South like I
Yeah.
am, he's a mullet man.
Yeah.
And here comes this, fresh haircut, big gray bush mustache coming down, and he's like, Jake Hill, is that you?
Yeah.
And it was cool. It was a cool moment seeing you guys connect, and I'm not sure if we shared it on some of our social medias, but it was like a really full circle moment, and just like seeing one of my best friends kind of go through, and seeing your old coach, and then you telling me the story of the day you got cut, and having to put that on film and being like, I haven't been here since what was it, 2000? What year was it? 11?
Yeah.
2011.
2011.
2011, and being like, yeah, this place hasn't changed a bit.
Yeah. I could tell you where all the mess hall was, where all the meeting rooms are, the training rooms, and all that, and how the locker rooms were set up, and yeah, it was crazy. And some of the old equipment guys were still there, so they were like, oh man, yeah, I totally remember you. And
Yeah.
Chuy Mendoza, which was the Latin liaison at the time, like he's like, Jake? I was
Yeah.
like, Chewy, oh my God, like you're still here, because there's a lot of, it's a revolving door in the professional sports world. So to see that those guys have been tenured there for, 10, 12 years is really awesome, But old Dougie, man, he was in my corner.
Dude, he was all about you. I could tell. He was like, he really believed in you.
Yeah.
It comes down to, it's a business, right? So they have to make some business decisions. I think you and I had kind of talked about that privately, and talking about how, the day, dude, you had a great ERA. You were like, you were doing your job, coming in and, just being a man about it, and being the dog. And then, the front office, they have to make decisions, whether it's politics or whether it's...
That was in a weird time, too.
Yeah.
Like, the front office changed that year. They had a whole brand new front office come in that 2011 year. And, I was agentless. I tried to have some agents in my career, and I felt like I was being leached upon at the time. So I didn't really
easily done.
And I didn't feel anybody was really in my corner. So, I think that I was an easy out in that manner to make room. I was a little bit older too. So, all of that, they didn't know who I was, but, again, I had people in my corner speaking for me that was, there firsthand. And, God bless Doug. He almost got fired he stood up in the meeting. Like, you guys are idiots.
Yeah.
He's the best pitcher we have in the organization right now. I don't care what level he's at. And stood up and walked out of the meeting.
Yeah.
Whenever they
I
were
remember
talking
him
about
telling
releasing
that.
me. Yeah, and I was just like, oh my god. Like, so Doug, you're my Gray Bush, you're my man.
Such a good guy, man. He was so excited to see the gloves too, and kind of see where you were, and he was, obviously thinking about his grandkids and things like that. So
Yeah.
it's just good to see like the baseball, come full circle, the baseball story come full circle in that situation, and be able to show off the brand and kind of what you've built and kind of what we're building here. So yeah, I was super stoked for that, man. That was a cool day, and I got that. My son was there too, so he was 12 years old at the time. So it's, man, what a cool opportunity for a 12-year-old to see, like, his mentor, his coach, and like, be like, hey man, this is where I was, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was cool to see him walking around and being able to go into the facility and being like, holy shit.
Yeah, the baseball's real.
Yeah, this is the
this
real
is not
deal.
just travel ball anymore.
Yeah, you get to go see, and you
Yeah.
got, the players would come up and see the stuff, and we had Jackson Feltner there
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Boyd.
Yep.
So he got to meet those players firsthand and
Great players,
just see some
man.
legends.
Yeah, hopefully those guys get to move up in the process this year, and reconnect with those guys this spring. So you played a total of 10 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. Like professional baseball.
Yeah.
Like that's longevity. That's the ins and outs. That's like you said, doing the hard work and then going to do your job at the same time. It's a grind. Can you talk about what it was like to leave affiliate ball and then go to indie ball?
When you're in affiliated ball, everybody says, like, I'll never play indie ball, because it was always looked down upon. But I'm not going to lie, bro. I had a lot of fun in indie ball.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. You go there, and obviously professional sports in its own is just a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta perform every day. It's not like you can just, all right, I get this season, and then next season they'll make cuts. They might make cuts tomorrow. They might make cuts after the game. You don't know. There's just a lot of people in line, but it felt like when you went to independent ball, like it was guys having fun again.
Yeah.
Some of the guys knew that they could be there for a minute just because of their name or their tenure in professional baseball. So they knew, the front office knew that they could perform at some point in time, or they were somewhat of a leader within the situation. But it was guys getting back after it, the right way again. And, honestly, you had to get back after it on your own.
Yeah.
Which was ideal in some instances, because maybe in some organizations or in some ways they wanted you to do it their way, and what just wasn't working out for you that way. You know what I mean? And I felt like a lot of guys prospered in independent ball for the fact that they got to do things their way and prepare their way and go about business their way.
Yeah.
And they really felt within themselves great to go out there and perform.
Yeah.
I think that was huge. I think it was, and it's also a lot of growing in there too, because when someone's not telling you what to do, where to be, and how to do it, you've got to figure that out for yourself. And I think that's one of the things that I really grew as a player. And I think that's one of the attributes that I can help our players out within, the youth organization, or, from the time that I coached in the draft league in the inaugural season, just being able to have these insights to these players. They're so locked in on numbers, and it's like, dude, you're forgetting how to actually feel the game.
Yeah.
Feel you. And I think that's some great insights that I'm able to provide, because I had that ability to do that in independent baseball.
Yeah.
I really grew, and I really became a lot more knowledgeable, rather than being a robot out there just going through the motions.
Yeah. I think that's something that says, like, you get too close to the problem, and then you can't see the forest through the trees.
Yeah.
So it's like you going out there and just feel the game, let it come to you. I think that's I've seen a lot of that over the last 10 years, whatever, of players that I've been around. I see a lot of guys kind of go through that. They get so caught up on the statistics and spin rate and everything else that they forget, I can just throw the ball.
Yeah. They're like,
like
oh,
you're born with a gift, right?
I had a 3,800 spin rate on this. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, it was a fucking ball.
Yeah, no one cares how
No
hard you
cares.
throw a ball forward, right? You throw the ball hard in the zone and see what happens.
It broke a lot, but you threw it in front of the plate. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. So you go and play indie ball after 10 years. Obviously you talked about you hurt your back. Talk about what retirement Like, what did that do to you as a baseball player? Because you're even now, like you're like, congratulations, you just turned 40 years old. Yeah. Yeah. So Jake just turned 40. We had a birthday party for him where we played softball. We had some bunch of just crazy guys out there playing softball and trying to keep up with a bunch of 15, 16-year-olds. Yeah. And Jake was flying all over the place. So congratulations. Yeah. So talk about what it was like retirement and like being able to like kind of transition back into that, like, whoa, I'm not a professional at anymore. That's like, what am I a professional at?
Dude, I tell you what, that was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
I can imagine.
Because all I know is go play, go be on a team, go travel. Like, wanderlust is real,
Yeah.
I got to a point where I started kind of getting in depression mode too, because it was like, I feel like I'm supposed to be somewhere else, and I've never really, for over 10 years, spent more than a week in the same place.
Yeah.
Like we go have a home series, maybe 2 home series in a row, and then we're out for a week, 2 weeks, then we're back, and then we're out. And then even whenever I came home from the off season, I may have been home for 3 weeks, and then I was off to winter ball, and then doing the same rigmarole, and then I'd come back and I'd be home for like 3 weeks, and it was time to leave to go to spring training. And so that was really hard. And then choosing what next. Like, I'm not getting paid to play baseball anymore, so how am I making that money? I used to do construction in the off seasons whenever I had time to be home, and I definitely didn't want to go do that anymore. I was swinging hammers. I was building houses in the off seasons from the ground up and in the snow, and that was terrible.
That sounds horrible.
But I was in a kind of lost moment for like a year and a half. Really just trying to figure out what I was going to do and how I was going to do it.
Dude, it's like your Kenny Powers years.
Dude, I swear to God, I felt like Kenny Powers, and I had to go and figure out, and you got to communicate different in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can't be so direct.
Yeah. And you play pro ball or sports for so long, like aggressive talk is standard talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then obviously clubhouse talk, ragging on people. It's like, it's sweat off your shoulder, and everybody else is taking it personal. And you're like, dude, I'm just kidding. You know what I mean? But, so that year and a half of transitioning, and, on top of, I had my back injury was excruciating. Like my pain every day in my back was like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. I get stuck in positions where I couldn't move for a few minutes before my back would let up and I could move again. And, going through that mental struggle and not having any help with it. It's not like I could go just down the street to rehab and, things like that. That year and a half was tough. And then, meeting my now wife and having her support through the situation and pushing me, in the direction that I should be in, stay in was crucial for what I was, the decisions that I needed to make and, the direction that I needed to go. And I think it was, she pushed me in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. She's great. And congratulations, by the way. You just had your first daughter.
Yeah, well, just hit me all at once. Midlife crisis at this moment.
No, that's great, man. You're doing exactly what you need to do. And you guys are great parents already. And love seeing it. I love being Uncle JoJo to her. And it's great. So, so you've been coaching travel baseball for a while. You're with the Jackhammers, and just talk me through, like, hey, you're coaching kids, you're coaching 8 to 15-year-olds, and every Saturday and Sunday, and then you decide, hey, I'm gonna get into this glove business. Because what people I don't think know about you is that you've wanted to have a t-shirt company since you were in like high school, right? Mm-hmm. So you're creative. You're creative from the get. So talk about getting some of those creative juices out and getting that first glove back, and talk about the process and the reasons why you love being a designer and being a business owner.
Yeah, it's I have a hard time working for other people. You know what I mean? Just in a simple fact that I want to be able to make my own choices, do what I want to do, and you know, I think I have some creativity that I don't want I don't want anybody to block it. I just wanted to kind of keep it going. So, yeah, I thought I've had some good ideas for like t-shirt companies and stuff, but I couldn't draw worth a shit. So I feel like that was kind of out the door.
Yeah.
But you know, I did have a passion for gloves. I only got my first ever custom glove in 2014, right after my mom passed away. And all I did was get lasered on it, Wheezy, which is what we called her, and then LBSOS, which means love, blessings, and strikeouts. That's what she always sent to me before I played. And I just had that lasered on because I didn't want to wait for stitching. You know, you wait 2 to 3 months for stitching, and I get lasered and get it in like 2 to 4 weeks. So then you see some custom gloves and things like that, and you're like, dude, those are cool. Like, I'd never had anything like that. And so I selfishly started to get in the actual fielding glove situation just to see if I could create something cool for me. And then, you know, getting the initial samples, like we said, is like you find out who's good and who's bad. I've had gloves wrapped up, wound up in a ball almost, like newspaper and cellophaned, and then put in a tiny little box, and you're like, there's no way there's a glove in here.
Great DNF.
Leather. And I pull it out, and they're like, yeah, that's our Japanese kip. I'm like, no way.
That's pleather,
like,
my friend.
Like, trust me, I played professionally for 10 years. I know what a glove feels like. You're not getting this over on me. So getting those, there she is.
Hey, Willow.
Getting those real samples in, like the day you get in the ones that like you know are real, it's like, oh shit, here we go. Like that's when I started to play, and you know, they offered me, you know, here's my swatches of leathers that you can kind of pick and choose from and try, and you know, I then started mixing and matching, and I'm like, oh, well, can we do this? Well, how about this? Can we do this? Can we do this? Can we do this? And then I'm just waiting for a point to tell me, like, no, stop it. We can't do that. You know what I mean? And that's just really where I'm trying to take the creative side to it. Like, all the stuff that you see, whether it be on the Instagram, the website, this is it just shows like an opportunity that of what each individual player can create. You know, how far can you take it? You might be able to take it farther than I can. You know, and that's really what we're here to do, is to allow that path for the players and the athletes to take it on themselves. It's
a very unique crossroads, kind of like when you and I met. You know, I was like, hey, dude, I've worked for, you know, all these major brands. I'm a designer. I've been a designer for, you know, 10 plus years. Been in the industry. Let's connect together and let's figure out how do we launch this thing properly. You know, how do we get it out there, and how do we showcase your talent, your abilities, and type of gloves that we can make that's out there. You know, like, so what are you thinking for like the next, like, you know, 3 to 5 years? You know, 5 years from now, like kind of where JH is going to be.
You know, I'm here to really create a legacy for the fam. You know what I mean? Everything that I do within, you know, whether it be my baseball organization, the Jackhammers, you know, even private lessons, you know, any of that thing, I really try to create a family-oriented situation where, you know, we're here to support each other. You know, maybe I'm the catapult for you, and you can be the catapult for me in the times of need. But this is, I want to be able to be the premier custom glove company, where everybody wants to go to create the coolest and next best thing. You know, but you're not going to, you know, shortchange yourself in the quality. You know, we're always going to keep the quality at the top. That's where you're going to believe in what you're creating. And then, you know, keep pushing the limits on the materials that we use, the ideas, the leathers, you know, from patent leather to glittery leather to fur to, you know, whatever it may be. We're always just trying to go out there and push the limits. And they could be anything from, you know, your hardcore gamer to, I mean, a mantelpiece. You know, those are the things that we want to be able to create out there for, whether it be a collector, it'd be cool to have a collector series where people are like just collecting them like trading cards.
Yeah.
Being able to create those specific models for players, and this is their trading glove.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's something that you could also grab off the mantle and not be afraid to use. That like
it performs.
This is going to perform. Yeah.
Yeah. The cool thing about this is I've seen you make gloves for 8-year-olds. And like my son, my littlest son, and I've seen you make gloves for players like Ellie De La Cruz, or show off a glove to Luis Ariz or, Tatis or Machado. Like the gamut is there.
Yeah.
The spectrum is there, and the glove performs on every single level. That's what's really drawn me to the craftsmanship behind it, is because not only are these gloves designed well, and they look cool, and you can customize pretty much however you want. Your imagination is your limitation, essentially.
Yeah.
But they perform on every single level. Like my favorite day probably this past year has been 2 favorite days. One, we went to the clubhouse, the Padres, and Luis looks at us and goes, "They're in trouble."
Yeah. That was.
And I won't say the name. Man. I won't say the brand name, but you can figure it out.
That was a really cool moment.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was a chill bump moment. The other moment was walking into Angel Stadium and hanging out with Freddie, and then him bringing up Ellie De La Cruz, which you've created kind of a relationship with over the last 2 years. Him wearing our sliding mitt, before he signed with the other company,
Yeah.
which we won't name, but I'm sure they're great people. But having him put on the trainer and be like, "It's one of the best gloves. It's better than my gamer."
Yeah.
And I would rather wear the trainer. It's smaller, it's more compact, it's got more flash, it's personalized to him, and he's like, "This is better than my gamer." Like, I wish I would be signed with you guys.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
I'm putting words in his mouth.
Yeah. But he did say it was better. He liked it better than his gamer. Obviously I played and stuff like that, but I didn't get to the big leagues. But these guys who have some tenure in the big leagues and, obviously have everything thrown at them for them possibly to be able to use, to come out and be like, whoa, these guys are in trouble when you come through.
Yeah.
Or, I like this better than my gamer is like such the highest compliment in the quality in itself. Because I know that we can kind of create some wild stuff.
Yeah.
And, that's where the game is today. Everybody wants a wild glove. There's still some traditionalists out there, and we do those too.
Yeah.
It's not my lane, but just because it's so simple to put.
We
together.
can make a black glove.
Yeah. We can make a black, tan, blonde. It's but like I love the. It's kind of competitiveness for me to create a really cool layout on the glove to really balance the glove out, and given these different tricky flash points on them, or just the details in them themselves. You might not see it from far away, but once you start like really pulling it in to look at it closely, you're like, oh wow, like that's there. I didn't notice that time.
It's a very interesting time to be in the baseball glove world. It's a race. I really feel like it's a creative race, and it's fun when you see bigger brands think they can bully smaller brands.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They say imitation's the greatest form of flattery you could ever have. So, we see what's going on out there. We're paying attention, and we've had some design styles show up in some other brands. We're like, oh, I know where that came from.
Yeah.
And having other creators and other designers and stuff, and other glove companies reach out and go like, hey, we know what's going on too. So thought that was really interesting, but really cool. We like being in the race. We like being competitive, and it's kind of like part of our DNA, right? Being competitive. We wake up every single day. We're passionate about what we do. We're passionate about authenticity and growing the brand and helping the JH fam thrive. I come from a background where if one of us eats, we all eat. Yeah. So that's kind of the mentality. So if you had one message for the fam out there, what would you want to let them know?
Honestly, just stay on the grind. The magic happens where the people don't see. You put in the work as much as you possibly can and stay as consistent as possible. it's really hard to beat someone who doesn't quit. And that's what I've always said, like, this is going to work out because I'm too dumb to know when to stop.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be stupidity or just straight up competitiveness. Like, I don't quit. I don't, like, the only reason why I stopped playing baseball is because I had an injury that wouldn't allow me to do it anymore.
Right.
You know, or I'd be in a wheelchair. And, you know, I want to have some sort of future that's not painful every day, but, you know, really put in the work. But really put in the work where, in the dark, where people don't see you, and create your consistency off of that. And that's what's really going to shine through. You'll get your opportunities to shine, you know, but you're going to, you know, diamonds are built in the deepest, darkest places where nobody is looking at them or finds them. And when they dig them up, it's the most magnificent thing that you've ever seen in your whole life.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I love that. So, where can they follow us at?
JH Pro Gloves on all the social media platforms, jhprogloves.com. Be checking us out. You know, we're doing some things that we're stepping into the football realm as well. We're having a chance to work with Stevie Johnson. We're trying to expand out through there, but you know, reach out to us anytime. We're very personable. You know, whether you want to shoot us an email, Jake at jhprogloves.com, Jonathan at jhprogloves.com. Reach out to us, and you know, you got some crazy ideas that you want to try to get down. Let's work together and try to create something really cool.
Yeah. I'm really excited for ABCA this year. It's going to be huge. Like,
we got some cool stuff coming.
Got some cool stuff coming. I mean, some materials you can think about. Maybe, I don't know, a lot of just good models out there.
Yeah.
We don't want to give too much away, but you know, we'll give hints on the socials as we build up to it. But we're excited to release some new gloves. Hey man, thanks a lot for kind of giving us your background on kind of what we're looking to do, and, you know, kind of your journey up to this point. Let's can't wait to kind of get into a little bit more and hit us up on the next episode.
Yeah, really excited to kick this thing off and really create this new journey that everybody can to follow and be a part of. So thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you on the next time on The Cut.
JH forever. From the jump, the fam showed up, showed out, new friends, real ones.